are you all doing tonight? I believe you're doing fabulous. Welcome to the midnight hour where I read you to sleep, literally. Um, Although I'm just going to be here for like 30 minutes um, or at most an hour. But you are welcome. If you are laying on your bed at this moment and you are struggling to sleep, if there are things going on in your mind and you are wondering what tomorrow will look like, if you are burdened with life and the occurrences, then this is the place to be, where I give you something to think about as you lay on your bed. In other words, I'm here to be your distraction so that you don't get yourself consumed by what could be or what is not happening. Tonight, I'm reading to you from one of my favorites, The Law of Focus: How Your Attention Affects, Influences, and Creates Your Reality. Tonight, I'm reading to you from the chapter number 3. And in chapter 3, we are talking about a split vision. A split vision. The duality within. In the journey of life, clarity of purpose and unity of thought are paramount. And yet, many find themselves torn between conflicting desires, beliefs, and intentions. This internal conflict, described in the book of James, the chapter 1, as being a double-mindedness. He said this leads to instability and hampers spiritual growth. The Greek term for double-minded is dipsukos, meaning double-souled, a soul that is two-sided or wavering. This portrays a person divided in their loyalty, attempting to serve both God and worldly desires. Such division results in a lack of direction and purpose. So, akin to a ship tossed by the waves without a rudder. Now, let's look at the spiritual consequence of having a divided mind or a double soul. A divided mind leads to these. 1. Instability. Without a clear focus, decisions become inconsistent, leading to erratic behavior and outcomes. Ineffectiveness, even in your prayer life. In James chapter 1, the verse number 6 and 7, it is emphasized that doubting individuals should not expect to receive anything from the Lord, as their wavering undermines their faith. Therefore, let's look at another point here: a compromised faith. When your mind is divided, your faith is compromised. So, attempting to serve two masters dilutes your devotion, making it impossible to fully commit to God's plan, as written in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. Now, let's look at it from the quantum perspective. In quantum physics, we see an intriguing parallel to the concept of double-mindedness. The observer effect, as we talked about in chapter 2, in quantum mechanics, suggests that the act of observing influences the outcome of an event. So when attention is divided, the potential for a specific outcome becomes uncertain. And this aligns with the biblical principle that faith, which is an unwavering belief, is essential for manifesting God's promises in our lives. Just as a focused observation in quantum experiments leads to a different or a definite outcome, a focused faith also leads to the realization of spiritual truths. Hey, friend, welcome, man. It's good to have all of you. If you join, you are welcome to the midnight hour where I read you to sleep. So, whatever time zone that you are in, my goal is to read to you, to give you something to meditate, to think about. The power of single minded devotion. Jesus taught a very important subject on a singular focus. And he said, "If thine eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light." I believe that is the theme of this book. A single eye symbolizes undivided attention. Undivided attention and purpose, leading to enlightenment and clarity. So let's look at a couple of things with respect to single-minded devotion. You have that ability to stay engaged with God. You are able to internalize God's word to reinforce your faith, and you are able to live intentionally. Some couple reflection exercises that I will give for you to think about is to take a moment and reflect on areas in your life where your focus was or is divided. Where in your life right now is your attention or focus divided? This afternoon, in my time of meditation, I stumbled on something that I need to hone in and focus more on coming live or producing more content, right? I called it that I'm very passive when it comes to coming online and sharing the insights, the wisdom, the revelations that I have, right? And so that's what I caught. So if I relate it to this one area that I realized that my attention was divided, was coming out and releasing content, right? When I speak with people, I get to talk to a bunch of people based on my position. They are always amazed about the wisdom that comes out of me, the things I share, the things I say. But why am I not able to come out and share it with the public? It's a divided attention because my focus is on something else, thinking this is irrelevant or very minimal. But this might be something that I need to really hone in order to be a blessing to the world. And so I want you to think about it. Are there any conflicting desires that are pulling you in different directions? Any conflicting desires that is pulling you in different directions? This is something I encourage you to think about and engage yourself with it. In conclusion, a divided mind will lead to instability. But through intentional focus and devotion, you can achieve clarity and purpose. So, as we come to the end of this chapter, I want you to embrace the journey towards single mindedness by trusting that God will guide you and strengthen you. And here is a scripture for you, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. He said, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path." That was a very short chapter. Now, let's look at chapter number 4. You are welcome to the broadcast. It's called The Midnight Hour, where I read to you some of my favorite books. And tonight I'm reading to you The Law of Focus, how your attention shapes, creates, and influence your reality. In chapter 4, we are talking about beholding and becoming, transforming through your vision. What you behold, you become. That was the premise by which I wrote this book. That what you spend time with, you become. There is a divine law hidden in plain sight within this powerful verse from 2 Corinthians, the chapter number 3, the verse number 18. And that says that, but we all, with open face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. Meaning, what you behold, you become. Paul reveals that as we gaze with spiritual openness upon the image of the Lord, free from veils, distortions, or double-mindedness, we are transformed into what we see. I want to pause and hone in on this. What you look at consistently, you see. And what you see, you become. Again, there's a book. I have a book coming out next month. It's called The Algorithm. The Algorithm. We all know that when you think of this mouse here, all of a sudden, you see the mouse all over the place, right? It's very typical when it comes to cars. You see this car and you're like, oh, wow, this car is nice. And all of a sudden, you start seeing that car everywhere you go. What is that? It's the algorithm. More of that next month. So this is no passive religious metaphor. That's not what we are talking about here. It is an active spiritual law that governs the inner life of every believer. In a world flooded with images, media, fear, and distractions, what we consistently behold is what we will eventually mirror. Whether you are looking into the face of fear or the face of hope, your soul is absorbing and will reflect what it sees. You are a mirror by divine design, and that which dominates your vision determines your transformation. Let's go on to look at the mirror of the soul. What is the mirror of the soul? What reflects your soul? A mirror only reflects. I've said this so many times that nobody have seen their face before, and whenever I ask this question, people look at me like I'm crazy. But you haven't seen your face before, right? I haven't seen my face before. Okay. But the caveat is that you have only seen your face through the reflection of a mirror. You will say, but still I've seen my face. I get that part. But I'm trying to make a point, right? That the only thing that enables us to see who we truly are is through the mirror. So it is very critical, very important to understand the mirror of life. What reflects who you are to you? And that's what we want to look at here. In ancient times, mirrors were not as refined as today. Yet, they still reflected the essence of the object before them. The scripture that I read from the beginning, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18, reveals that we are transformed into what we contemplate. Your transformation is tied to your focus. This is the essence of the law of focus. You are not merely shaped by your environment. You are shaped by what you allow to take residence in your inner eye, your imagination, your belief, your spiritual attention. Let me say this and say it again. You are not transformed or shaped by your environment. We've heard this so many times in so many different ways from many prominent people, and I'm not here to bring anybody down, but I want you to pay attention and think about what I'm about to say. You are not shaped by your environment. You are shaped by what you pay attention to in your environment. Let me prove it to you. Why is it that the same siblings, the same parents, the same household, the same food they eat, in fact, some of them, the same bed, grew up in the same environment, raised by the same parent, and yet one becomes good, one becomes bad, one becomes great, one becomes something else in the same environment? You've been to school, in the classroom, the same teacher, the same subject, the same length of time, but some excel, some don't. You might say it's because of their genes or their mind or whatever. Yes, but the point is that it stems from what is within them. It's not the external factors that made one pass the exam and the other failed. It is an internal thing. Meaning the environment did not shape them. It is what was in them that shaped them. So again, the environment does not shape a person. It is what they pay attention to that shapes them. In Proverbs 23 verse 7, it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So let us now explore this mystery a little bit through some biblical characters, if you will. One is Moses. Moses spent time face to face with God on Mount Sinai. And when he came down from the mountain, his face literally shone with divine radiance. That is referenced in Exodus 34 verse 29. What happened? Moses had beheld the glory of the Lord for so long and so deeply that his physical body began to reflect it. He was not trying to shine. He simply gazed, waited, worshipped, and listened. Transformation was the natural byproduct of a sustained vision. This is the template. Transformation does not require striving. It requires steady beholding. This is good. Let's look at Jesus, the pattern man himself. I call him the mirror, the ultimate mirror of the divine. Jesus is called the express image of the invisible God in Hebrews chapter 1 verse 3. He modeled a perfect life of union, showing us what it means to live with one's spiritual eyes locked on the Father. Jesus said, the Son can do nothing of himself but what he sees the Father do. John 5:19. Powerful. His entire earthly ministry was fueled by his divine focus. He wasn't reacting to the world, he was reflecting what he saw in the unseen realm. This is this is our inheritance too. To live by faith, not by sight. Many of us in our generation live by sight too much. Our focus is all around what is surrounding us. There is no internal stability. We are looking at the likes and the people who are watching life to determine our wealth, to determine how we feel. If there are not 100 people, 1,000 people watching me live, then I feel like I'm not worth anything. No. Your wealth is not dependent on anything external. This is something we have to come to the place of understanding, because every single one of you who is watching or will watch this, if you are old enough, maybe 20 years and above, you have faced disappointment before. You have faced neglection, rejection. Meaning, if your wealth is predicated on the things, the people, the place that you find yourself in, my dear, that is why depression is on the rise. My goal tonight is to enable you to shift your focus, because your focus determines your future. Let's look at the Apostle Paul. Saul of Tarsus was once a man obsessed with legalism and violence. But when he encountered the risen Christ on the road to Damascus, his entire inner vision changed. Temporarily, he was blinded in the natural, but his spiritual eyes was flooded open. That shift in focus redirected his entire destiny. His letters echoes the importance of renewed vision. One of the popular verses we all read or heard is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. He said, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." The Apostle Paul teaches us that when our vision changes, your identity and purpose will follow. I love it. When your vision changes, your identity and purpose will follow. I want to go into one of the mystics of our generation in the 19th century, and his name is Neville Goddard. He taught something that will marvel a lot of people. I always say that you have to be very spiritually matured to be able to read or listen to this man. He is too much. He said that imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the creative power of God within a man. He said, man is all imagination. God is man and exists in us and we in him. As Jesus put it, the eternal body of man is imagination, and that is God himself. Like I said, this man, you have to be extremely matured in the spirit to be able to engage his content. So to Neville Goddard, the act of beholding in imagination is the engine of creation. What you persistently see and feel in your mind, you eventually experience in the flesh. And again, I'm reading to you from one of my books, The Law of Focus, how your attention affects, influence, and creates your reality. His teaching echoes 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 18. When you behold in your mind's mirror your ideal self, healed, free, abundant, anointed, you move into alignment with that state and your world reshapes accordingly. Science also echoes this principle according to quantum physics. The observer act or the act of observing affects the observed. That's a powerful one. The act of observing affects the observed. It means the observer influences the observed. The observer effect shows that the attention collapses probability into reality. What you continually observe inwardly becomes your world outwardly. As a man thinketh, so is he. What you behold inwardly becomes your life outwardly. On that note, I have a reflection question for you. What have you been beholding lately? Where has your attention been? What has been your focus lately? I want you to take a moment and analyze it. Think about it. Where has your focus been lately? What have you been paying attention to? Is it the disappointments? Is it the hurts? Is it the rejection, the neglection? Or is it the abundance? Is it the increase? Is it the faithfulness of God? Is it being grateful? Is it being thankful? Is it being honoring? Where is your focus? What have you been beholding? Because what you behold, you become. Tonight, I'll leave you with this. God richly bless you. Thank you for tuning in with the midnight hour with your brother Vincent Opon. I read to you from my book, The Law of Focus. Your attention determines the reality that you create, because Proverbs chapter 23 verse 7 says, as you think, so will your life be. Tonight, as you lay on your bed, think on these things. He said, whatsoever is pure, whatsoever is good, whatsoever is of virtue, of good report. He said, if there be anything, this is what we must be thinking about. As children of God, our mind has to be flooded with the light of God, which is the word of life. You are blessed. Have a good night. I'll see you, God willing, at the same time tomorrow, 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Love you, and I'll see you. If you don't have a copy of my books, please go to Amazon and grab a copy. I've written 7 books this year. It's called the Rainbow Books. All the colors are in there. So go grab a copy. This month, actually, tomorrow, on the 1st of August, one powerful book is coming out. It's called Timeless. I talk about what the lessons that we can learn from time, life, illusion, truth, and mortality. It's a powerful book. You must get a copy. Again, you can find me anywhere. If you Google my name, I show up everywhere. I'm the only Vincent Opon in the world. I'm just kidding. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.